Tensions soar. Iran and US near military conflict over nuclear standoff. The standoff between Iran and the United States is rapidly escalating, with officials on both sides warning that the chance of a military confrontation is now higher than ever. Diplomats across the Gulf and Europe say hopes for a diplomatic resolution over Tehran's nuclear program are fading fast. Iran's Gulf neighbors and Israel, a longtime adversary of Tehran, now see a conflict as increasingly likely. Washington is building up one of its largest military deployments in the region since the 2003 Iraq invasion, signaling the seriousness of the US approach. US aircraft carriers, warships, and fighter jets have been deployed across the Gulf, while Israel is reportedly preparing for possible joint military action. Israel's stance. Israeli officials say that Tehran and Washington appear to be at an impasse. While no final decision has been made, Israel is preparing for a potential joint operation with the United States. This would mark the second time in less than a year that the US and Israel have targeted Iranian military and nuclear facilities following airstrikes in June of last year. Regional concerns. All producing Gulf states are closely watching the situation, fearing a conflict could spiral out of control. Officials from countries like Saudi Arabia, the UAE, and Qatar warn that the Middle East could be destabilized if hostilities break out. Two senior Israeli officials told Reuters that they believe the gaps between Washington and Tehran are unbridgeable, and that a near-term military escalation is highly likely. Experts warn that Tehran may be dangerously miscalculating by holding out for concessions, while US President Donald Trump is boxed in by the massive military buildup, unable to scale it back without losing face if Iran refuses to abandon its nuclear weapons ambitions. Alan Ayer, a former US diplomat and Iran specialist, told reporters, both sides are sticking to their guns. Nothing meaningful can emerge unless the US and Iran walk back from their red lines, which I don't think they will. Ayer added, what Trump can't do is assemble all this military, then come back with a so-so deal and pull out the forces. If he attacks, it's going to get ugly quickly. Diplomatic efforts stall. 2 rounds of talks between Iran and the United States have already stalled on key issues, including uranium enrichment, missiles, and sanctions relief. According to sources familiar with the negotiations, when Omani mediators delivered US proposals related to Iran's missile program, Iranian Foreign Minister Abbas Araghchi refused to even open the envelope and returned it. After the most recent talks in Geneva, Araghchi said the two sides had agreed on guiding principles. But the White House said significant gaps remain. US officials expect Iran to submit a written proposal in the coming days, while Araghchi indicated that Iran would have a draft counterproposal ready soon. Trump sets deadline. President Trump has warned that Iran must reach a deal over its nuclear program or face consequences. On Thursday, he said really bad things would happen if Tehran does not comply. Trump appeared to give a deadline of 10 to 15 days for Iran to act, while Tehran responded with threats to retaliate against US bases in the region if attacked. The rising tensions have already affected global oil markets, pushing prices higher. Military options on the table. Trump has yet to finalize his decision on military action, but he acknowledged that he is considering limited strikes aimed at forcing Iran into a deal. I guess I can say I am considering that, he told reporters. The timing of any potential attack remains uncertain. Secretary of State Marco Rubio is scheduled to meet Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu on 20th February to discuss Iran. A senior US official has said that full deployment of US forces in the region is expected by mid-March. What this means? The situation remains extremely tense. Both sides are holding firm, and regional officials warn that miscalculations could lead to a rapid escalation. Analysts say that the combination of stalled diplomacy, massive military buildups, and hardline rhetoric makes the next few weeks critical. Any misstep could ignite a conflict with devastating consequences for the Middle East and the global economy. For now, the world watches as Iran and the US remain locked in a dangerous standoff, one that could reshape geopolitics in the region for years to come.
And they'll land down here?